Drupal EX call for Tuesday, June the 12th, 2018. And one topic for now is Andre, who would like to ask us about probably a complicated little thing about form submits into work and workspaces. Andre, can you explain?
Yes. So workspaces, it's a new module in Drupal 8.6, and it works for publishable and revisionable entities. So should I don't know, explain more about it, or?
I guess workspaces is about moving, moving content between. How do you say it? Preparing multiple content changes in one space so that you can push them and make them go live in another space all at the same time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the problem that I wanted to discuss is that the content which can be pushed from a workspace to the default workspace, which is the live site.
Yeah.
It's like I said before, it's only about content entities and those which are revisionable and publishable. So we need to come up with a UI that disallows people from editing any other object in Drupal, which is not a content entity, publishable and revisionable. So, for example, that means that when you are in a non-default workspace, when you are preparing content for a campaign or something, you cannot add config. For example, you cannot add a node type or a block or a vocabulary and things like that.
Because those are not publishable, revisionable.
Yes, and if you would
If you
do
would
that,
still do it
they would appear in the live site, which is something that,
immediately.
yes, yeah. So that
So there's no way to contain them in that sense.
no, no.
So I think the things you mentioned are all config entities, but they're also taxonomy terms or content, but I don't think they're revisionable. Or menu items are also content. I don't think those are revisionable either.
Right. They're not yet revisionable, but we are working on having them revisionable and publishable, both taxonomy terms and menu links. But currently, in current state of head, yes, you would also not be able to add or edit a taxonomy term or a menu link. So yeah, so we need to basically prevent any operation that might happen on the Drupal, on a Drupal site, which is not related to a revisionable and publishable entity.
Wow. And any ideas you've already considered, or is this a blank slate like this piece of paper?
I spoke to Angie, I think last week, and she proposed, for example, for config entities like node types or vocabularies, that we could simply deny access to the pages where you can add or edit them. So the user would not see any add link or buttons or edit buttons anywhere in the UI.
Yeah, my suggestion was more like keep the add buttons there, because otherwise people are just confused about where the hell is my. But instead, make the text gray and don't make it a link. Be like, add new taxonomy, parentheses, live site only, or something like that. because then it's like you can still find the link that you expect to be there, but there's an explanation right when you're curious why you can't click it, what the problem is, and you can say, oh, okay.
All right. Sorry, I forgot about this.
I thought the issue was pretty close, but is that not the case? Like that issue got RTBC for 8.5, I want to say, the issue to give terms. I mean, this is an issue, I guess, regardless of taxonomy.
There's an issue for having grayed out action links. Is that what you said earlier, Angie?
Yeah, that was my idea, but I am not a designer or a UX person.
If there's an issue number, can we find it?
Yeah. It was an issue that was just pinged to me and contributed to a comment. Oh, I got it. It's 297 5334.
324?
34.
533.
So it's 297 5334.
Oh, I see it in the chat. Thanks, Benji.
Okay, so having action links grayed out could be a challenge, to be honest, because usually when we check access in Drupal on a link and access is denied, we simply don't display the link. I'm not sure how easy it would be to override this behavior.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing to do. We could do that, as a short term. It stops the kind of data loss from happening or whatever.
Or
data loss, exactly.
Access bypass, let's say. I think.
Yeah, I just think whoever owns the site is going to get a bunch of support requests like, why can't I see my link? Where'd my links go? And it's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a plain access denied. That's going to trigger a lot of questions. Yes, access denied because blah blah blah. Sorry.
Yeah, the current behavior Amethyst is that it just does not show the link at all. Correct.
Oh,
it just
okay.
behaves as though you don't get like it behaves as though it would if you were there and you didn't have permission to create link terms. You just don't even see a link.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had an idea. How about instead of disabling the buttons, whenever one of these buttons is displayed on a page, we show a message that, or maybe not.
Oh,
I was thinking of something like saying that you might not be able to do some operations that you are usually allowed to, but I'm not sure if that works really well. Yeah, I was trying to figure out a message, something instead of disabling the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would override course behavior on not showing any link to an access denied page.
Another option would be to add an extra confirmation step and say, the site is currently in such and such workspace, but submitting this form will affect the live site. Do you want to continue?
Yes, that was the initial proposal from the issue, but Angie said that wording like this is usually easily overlooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to mess up your site? Yeah. Whatever.
Well, what about if you stop them from going further and you put a modal dialog in front of them with the message? And maybe you could even, I mean, like, that's a warrant, like a full message on top, overlaid on top of the page that we don't want them editing. We want them to know that if they make changes, it goes live.
Yeah, that would be a bit drastic, but it would work.
I mean, it's easy to implement because you're just looking at the page and then you're inserting a modal on top of the page.
Yeah.
And it would still allow people to do the wrong thing, right?
No, I mean.
Or can we keep it? Can we keep that? Can we make the dialogue so that you won't be able to continue?
I think that would be a bit annoying for the user, because I mean, you're thinking the user should not be able to close the dialogue, or?
No. The dialogue would not provide a link to proceed anyway, sort of like that.
Yeah, but when you show a dialogue on a page, the rest of the interaction with the page is disabled, so you can only act on the dialogue itself. So going back to the previous page would imply pressing the back button in the browser, since you won't be able to close the dialogue.
Well, Gabor, are you hinting at, like, the dialogue? I think in jQuery UI, you can open dialogues that can't be closed. Like escape and the close button are gone, and it just won't let them. I mean, that's the most drastic thing. I wasn't going there, but you can do that. You could also have it open a form that says, warning, you're going to affect the live site. Check this box if you want to proceed and affect the live site. And then when they hit submit, it closes the dialogue and lets them proceed.
Okay. That's an option, yeah.
So you're confirming, do you want to mess up your site?
And how does that work if for sites that don't use JavaScript?
We could have standard confirmation forms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the thing that comes up, do you really want to delete this vocabulary? Have a confirmation form like that has pretty much the same effect, but doesn't use JavaScript. And
yeah, the same form would be shown on the next page, right? On a next page.
Yeah, so
it's a little tricky. I just like because they're going to load a page we don't want them to go to. So to get that confirmation form, like the modal allows you to pop up a confirmation form. We could write some code to redirect. There's a way to do like meta redirects for Java if JavaScript's not working. Good part is if you solve it once, it works everywhere. So someone figure it out. A lot of people.
That's one of our recurring problems. Solving it everywhere.
Implementation is hard, but at the moment we're talking about UX, and I think I'd rather be presented with the information before I start editing my whatever I'm editing, rather than when I submit it, or maybe both. But it would be really bad UX to spend 20 minutes editing some form and then submit it and get this notice. Oh, by the way, this will affect the live site. Is that what you really want?
Yeah, I'm definitely visioning the form. The page loads and instantaneously the confirmation dialog appears. I mean, that's the perfect UX. That only works if JavaScript's there. If JavaScript's not there, we have to get them off that form, or we have code to know if JavaScript's enabled now. I mean, we could redirect to a confirmation page that has a destination parameter. And we would be storing this. I mean, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's very doable.
Yeah, you store it in the session. I mean, and we want this on every page every time, or is it a one-time thing? I mean, if we're really exploring this.
Yeah, the problem with that is people are just going to dismiss them and not read them. They're like, oh, that's that stupid thing again that gets in my face all the time. Click,
Are you sure you want to delete something? Yes.
And yes, it needs to be on every page, because just because you said several hours ago that yes, this time I want to do it, doesn't mean that that actually now you really want to delete something on the live side.
Yeah, so
it has to come up every time.
What is the reason to even provide the yes checkbox? Could we also say, just don't, okay, and go back?
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. I'm not sure we should allow users to do this operation. I mean, if they really want to do it, they should switch to the default workspace and do it there. But it would be safer in terms of data loss and anything.
Okay.
We weren't able to change or add any config in the non-default workspace. So what we want in this case is to redirect them to the live workspace and do it there.
That's a useful explanation here, right? If you want to do this.
And are you able to do that? Like, I haven't used Workspace yet to know this, but if someone's looking at the staging workspace and they go to a form and we are saying, no, you got to go to the live, click this link to go to live, will they be able to have two tabs open, one of the staging and one of the live?
Yes, opening in a new tab is discouraged, as far as I know. But yes, we can. The button can redirect them to the live workspace.
Mm-hmm. Even that is servicing not good behavior, right?
No, that's the only possible behavior in this scenario. So config can only be edited, added, / deleted in live.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to do it, you do it there.
Yeah, Workspace.
And it's the only place you could do it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Workspaces will only do content for you, so you need to, for config, you need to go live.
Okay. Yeah.
How does that work with a normal workflow for changing config on a staging site? I feel somewhat confused here.
If you're on a staging site, so workspaces are per Drupal instance.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a staging site, you can be in the live workspace. So if you have a scenario where you develop on multiple servers and multiple Drupal instances, each Drupal instance have a live workspace and all the others non-live workspaces. So this is like a local thing of the Drupal installation itself. It doesn't affect different. It doesn't. How to say this?
In fact, if you're doing a true staging site, not a test site, then you're probably not using workspaces at all.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. So the direction to switch to the live workspace does not mean that you need to switch to the production server or whatever. You need to switch to the live workspace in that Drupal instance that you are.
Okay, so that's sounds slightly confusing, but yes, I see.
I think it's important. The wording needs to be kind of like those. When you're exiting a site and it gives you that warning, you know, like you're exiting your staging environment and entering your live workspace. It needs to be. It's a challenging, like how to word that people will read it and understand that. Because I could see someone jumping like to a block and then trying to jump back to a node related to the block or something like that, or a destination. We have to just be careful that they know they're out. We don't pass destinations to the config form or something like that.
We just load the workspace in the modal. I didn't say that.
I definitely heard something.
Yeah. So disabled buttons is hard, I hear. Hiding buttons is very user hostile. Link with S is denied is almost as hostile, at least as hostile. Add an explanation is probably too weak. Link would give a warning and then the people do it anyway is what we sketched out. And link but warning and then don't let people do it from here, but direct them how they should do it is what we discussed in this bottom little flow here. Do we see other options?
But graying buttons out is a, to me, it sounds like a normal behavior. Like you could do this, but not in this instance. So the buttons are still there, so you don't start searching for them, but you also clearly see that you cannot use them here.
Yeah.
Still needs an explanation where you could use them.
What the argument against it was.
It's not really feasible from a technical perspective. And it's about buttons, links, drop buttons, anything that is a link displayed in any way, like I said, a link button, drop button. We need to figure out how to convey that's grayed out.
Okay, yeah, there's many variations to design and
yes, yeah, and also not exactly sure if it's possible technically.
Precies.
On the server, doing it on server side would be really hard. You could do it maybe in JavaScript and like look at the base paths, like look at it if the path is admin/block, but then you're still getting into crazy. I don't see it. I'm not seeing a technical way to do it reliably.
Yeah, me neither.
Because people have people have admin themes with their own implementation of a drop button.
Okay, no disabled buttons. Hiding them, no. That's just hiding them, and could we hide? Is hiding even an option? Because we could hide them and say, usually you would see button XYZ here.
Yeah, that's what I suggested. What I suggested earlier, hiding them and adding an explanation. That's very much possible.
But then, do you also have many variations to design for them?
Yeah, it's hard to do generally for an admin theme. Like, what if but all the buttons are hidden in the action area, but the action area is still there?
Mm-hmm.
And also, hide buttons is the same option as link, but access denied. Because links that point to an access denied are hidden.
No, but an access denied is something that you only get after you have already clicked on the button. So the user experience of that is slightly different. It's you're trying to do something and you're getting told again that you can't do this and you can't do that. So
right, but Drupal automatically hides links which are not accessible. Accessible as in access denied. So that's why I'm saying that we cannot show the button if the link returns an access denied.
Okay. The link isn't there, so there's nothing to gray out or.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess the only remaining options are show the links and how do we best display a message that they need to switch to the live workspace.
Yeah. I think we should go for this one, yeah.
I knew this wouldn't be easy.
Yeah.
So should we go with the dialogue because that's more prominent, or?
Yeah, I think so. No, I would want this to be like a somebody who's putting up a stop sign basically, right? So in your face, this is a dead end. Don't go here.
Yes.
So
Close
the
or
flow
go back.
is you're on the taxonomy overview page, and you click add term, and then instead of showing you the add term form, instead you receive a dialog that says you can't do this operation from workspace. If you want to do it, then click here to go there. Otherwise, click back. Is that correct?
I think the experience would be that you would go to the add form, but we would show the dialog on the add form.
Ah, no. I was thinking we're still on the same page.
Oh, okay.
You don't want them to go to the form, because if they go to the form, they're going to start filling it out, and then that's when they start losing it.
Yeah, I will firebug that dialogue away.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
do in that case.
No, I know.
But showing the dialogue when they click the button is also a JavaScript-only behavior.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how to deal with Jacob's point about what do you do if you're not using JavaScript.
Well, then it seems like a redirect to a confirmation, like Benji brought it out, a confirmation form. It's just to be clear, when I say a confirmation form, it's just the back-end behavior, but it's a form that just says, you can't edit this. You need to go to the live site and has two buttons at the bottom. One, proceed to go to the live site or back to my staging site. And we just reuse that code. We redirect to that form. Or we replace what's rendered, but that's a harder thing to do.
Yeah, I think a confirmation step would be easier to do.
But you'd redirect to the confirmation step.
Yeah.
Go, Ben.
I think that if I'm in the staging workspace, I might very well want to be adding taxonomy terms that will be then applied to the node that I'm adding. And the node won't be part of the live site until I make it so. But this seems very awkward to me that I'm not allowed to add the taxonomy terms I need. I have to switch to the live workspace, add my taxonomy terms, switch back to the staging workspace, and add the node that I'm planning to attach those taxonomy terms to. That really seems like bad UX.
Yeah, in this specific example, yes, but
that's true.
I don't think we should make exceptions for some specific entity types, because if you apply the same scenario to media and you have in your live site a view which displays all the media items, I don't think you would want to show that media that is linked to a node which is not published on the live site.
Well, in general, of course, Benji is right that workspaces doesn't cover all the things yet, right?
Yeah.
We're choosing to ship workspaces in core with what it does now, and the team is hard at work to make all the other things, well, not all, but all the content things revisionable and publishable, etc. as well, so that also taxonomy terms and other bits can be created.
But Benji, I think Benji's right. He's been like, let's say you're staging a blog post and people want to add tags to the blog post before they publish it. Yeah. It's like a really concrete use case where it's almost like, here's an exception that everyone's used to. And I hate going down the path of maybe that needs to be a configurable thing, or it.
Yeah.
But it just seems like the pattern. You start typing your taxonomy terms into content, a blog post you're staging to publish.
Yeah.
And
so this is why we're making taxonomy terms revisionable and publishable. So this workflow will be supported.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the message just has to say, certain content types are not. I wish we could in the UI be like, certain content types are not ready. Please look at these tickets, but I know we're not. Help us.
So, Andre, what are some other examples?
Yeah, the estimated amount of effort.
Andre,
You're
terms
up,
we
AJ.
hopefully will get that out by 8.6. What are some other things that are going to come up?
Menu links would be the next, I guess, but we also have a good patch for that. So I'm confident that at least terms and menu links will be revisionable and publishable in 8.6. And I think that covers most of the editorial workflows, like creating a menu item when you create a node. That would be supported.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even I mean, agreed. It's weird. There will be weird situations where you can't do that one bit that you need to do to complete the other thing. As Andre says, tags and menu links are getting there. We would still need to create. Well, we'll still need to handle the situation we've been discussing, right? Ideally, we don't have to do it for menu links and taxonomy terms, but
But we do for everything else.
So, what's the least worst option? How to handle that? We have a form with a button to create new things. What I'm hearing is this new goes somewhere else. It does not load the
My suggestion was to load the proper new page and display the dialog on top of it if you have JavaScript. If not, it would show the confirmation page that you want to switch to the live workspace to complete that action.
So that deals with my previous complaint that I don't want to fill out the form before getting the information that this is a bad thing to do. I want this information before I get to my form. So I like that.
So when you get to the form, you instantly see the dialog. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's worth noting on that dialog, there should be no escape, like no exit to the dialog. Only the buttons, the action buttons should. Because the default core has the close and escape enabled. I guess it's really called the confirmation. I forget the name.
Modal.
Confirmation modal.
Yeah.
And Node.js means it loads this bit in a single page?
Yes.
Back or link to switch. Is it how does it break? How is this still bad? How could we still do better? Or is this good enough?
So another thing that I wanted to point out is that I'm pretty sure we want to disallow the action on the API level as well. So if you remove the confirmation model with Firebug or whatever, you fill out the form and press save, we still won't allow that action to happen. Because we can't really be sure what would break if you do that. So we have multiple barriers in place. First is this, the UI one, but also on the API level. I think it will be needed.
Could you, for the Firebug people, could the form be disabled underneath? Or is that still?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's possible. But I mean, anything that you disable, they can enable in Firebug.
Yeah, sure.
It would be just an extra step to overcome, with the end result that they still won't be able to do it.
Yeah. Well done. We won't still. Yes.
I mean, you tried, okay, but no.
Yeah, but at that point, this link is provided, right?
Yeah.
Go to the right workspace.
But I'll just throw out on a technical note, like I think you have to, if it's a form on the no validate handler, throw a fatal, throw and accept like a validation error, because people might have Ajax or things that do things on those config forms that could tweak things. I mean, we're trying to deal with the Firebug scenario. We want to kind of make sure the form is like dead to the world.
Yeah, so this is why I said API level. So I'm thinking the last step of before saving a config object or anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then
I think
this is the spec.
I think we can try to implement what Benji said, to display the dialog before going to the page, but I'm not sure. That would probably take more time, because we would need to, I don't know, add a class to every link on the website. This still goes back to the fact that if you want to return access denied, Drupal won't display the link. So we cannot really do two access checks at the same time. One would display true, the normal one, and the other one would display false, would return false. So you could add a link, add a class on the link. This would be, I think, not very performant, to be honest. We would have to do every access checks twice on every link displayed on the page.
It would be a performance hit too. It's like outbound URL altering, which just is ugly.
Yeah.
You're examining every link going off a page, including all the menus being rendered and whatnot.
Yeah, technically that would need to happen, and it would be quite some bad performance. That's why I think it's easier to just go to the page and display the model there.
I mean, there's a JavaScript thought, like someone clicks on the link and it goes to a page that they're not, like, we know it's not access denied, but we're going to display a modal on that. We could display a modal on that page over the form, or in JavaScript, I think there's a way to say history go back and pass a parameter with it. You know, I'm not totally, that's getting into some weird JavaScript to kind of simulate the behavior. They clicked on a link and it pushes them back and forces a modal to be displayed. I think with a lot of the AJAX behaviors in the modern browsers, you can kind of get away with stuff like that.
Yes, maybe.
There's a few, yeah, I don't think that's a critical feature. I mean,
I mean, we've established on a high level what the procedure has to be, right? We show a warning in a not dismissible modal. You either go back or switch to the right workspace. Ideally, that happens without having to leave the page you clicked that initial button on. If after a bit of research, the developers say that is a 10x problem, we will go to the form, to the destination of the initial button or link, and do the same thing there. Okay.
That sounds pretty good to me.
Does that work for you, Andre?
Yeah, I think that's workable from a technical standpoint.
Okay. Next.
There was also this other issue, still related to workspaces, but now it's in the domain of the off-canvas tray. I think Gabor knows about it, but I'm not sure anyone else does. So when we designed the workspace UI, we said that we want to put the off-canvas tray at the top of the page. And also part of the design were some wrapping borders around the actual page. So you have the settings tray, but you also have some tiny border on the left, on the right, and at the top, which tries to convey, not at the bottom, just on the sides.
Not at the bottom.
Yeah. I think maybe to the bottom would reduce your actual viewing area too much. But anyway, the idea is that we want to convey here is that when you make changes in a top of canvas dialog, you are making a change that affects the site as a whole. Yeah, exactly. That's how it looks like. With the difference being to the side of canvas, that what you added there usually affects only the current page, or if you edit a block title, it would affect the block title in every page of the site. But when you are making changes in the top tray, you are most likely doing much more, no, not much. The changes that you are doing impact more than a block title, let's say.
Global changes?
Sorry?
More global changes?
Yes, exactly. Global changes, let's say. And I opened the issue where I'm trying to get a confirmation that this is something useful generically for the top of canvas tray, or if we should implement it just in the workspace implementation of the top tray. I think, Roy, you already commented there, or commented. that you think that this is useful to add generically to the top tray?
I'm not sure if I understood that part, if it's generic. Can you call out the issue number?
Yeah, sure. Let me find it. And this could even be configurable. When you want to open the top tray, you as a developer should be able to say, yes, I want to display the borders as well, or not. Yeah, so the issue number is 2976385. Yeah, so maybe I was a bit unclear earlier. The proposal is to add this as an optional generic feature of the top tray, instead of adding it just in the workspace implementation. That's the actual question.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I commented that I think it makes sense to be not even an optional feature, but maybe as a feature of the top tray. Because if we make the top tray be basically the same as the side tray, but just be a different place, then the message is that this is a component that you can use for the same purpose as the side tray, which is not what we intended.
Yeah,
People randomly open things in the top tray or the side tray depending on how they want. And if we say that the top tray is for global operations, and we signify that with a specific styling of wrapping the page, etc., then it makes the top tray's goals very clear, and then people will only use the top tray for global operations. That was my reason.
Yeah, I agree
well put. I agree. It shouldn't not be configurable because, yeah, as Gabor says, a top settings tray, only use that when changes apply to the whole site.
The people will find the workaround anyway. They will override the CSS and they will do all kinds of fun things.
Drupal is all about the workarounds.
CSS alter, but I think we can be clear with our intentions by baking it into the top tray.
Yeah. It's an interesting design exercise. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm maybe not even so sure about those side borders. I think Andrew, accessibility-wise, had also some concerns about only color or only borders or only styling in that sense. Maybe it should come. Maybe that settings tray always comes with a bottom message that says something whole site. So there's the question of the specific design, right?
Yes.
And whether it should be a reusable behavior, or even the default behavior of a top settings tray. Yes.
Yeah, as for the specific message, I think we could make that only available when to visually impaired. I'm not sure how to say this.
Yeah. If
it would be hidden for regular users, but read out or displayed or however that happens
Yeah, or it's visible for everybody. I mean, Workspaces is the one is initially the one tool that would use this, and by nature is a tool that makes changes to the whole site. So it might feel redundant, but
yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind. That when you're doing this and you're getting used to it, seeing that message every time could be, I don't know, a bit redundant.
Okay.
I think visually hidden was the class that I was looking for earlier.
Yeah, we can. I think we can display a specific label that's visually hidden, but it's displayed in a more accessible scenario.
Yeah. Shouldn't the trays have an announce if we're getting into accessibility? Like I haven't used a screen reader on the settings tray on the right and left side, but when that opens, that behavior happens. There's focus, but does it announce that a settings tray has been opened? Or in this case, what we're basically saying is a global settings form has been opened, and that could be announced.
Yeah.
Settings tray as itself went through rather rigorous accessibility review, so I'm not sure about the specifics, but
so I guess the question is, how do we?
What it should do is probably in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not good at hashing out visual design details on the call, but at least the feedback on the issue would be that this should be implemented as a default non-configurable behavior, and then we can go back and forth a bit about the specific design.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
I don't think I have anything else.
Do we want to talk briefly about what's up with Admin UI?
There are not many updates yet, although there was one question that maybe sharing that with you and knowing what do you think would be useful is that they are working on the with the pager right now, and they said that it was difficult to get so you have the pager, and usually in the pager you have exactly it's the the mini pager. So the thing for them is that they don't know, with React you don't know how many items the list will have, so you can have the last one exactly. And how weird do you see it? I mean, for me it sounded really strange, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna do some research on that. I haven't done that, but I know we can talk about that with these 2 minutes left. Any thoughts? For me it's strange, but maybe just because I'm super used to the pattern. I guess the first use that I would give to it is, I don't know, I have a list of items and I have them sort by whatever, and I want to know what's exactly on the opposite result. So I will go to the end. I don't know. What do you think?
Pagers work that way in Drupal, but it's not universal. If you do a Google search, you do not get a link to the last page of results.
No, go to page 2,325,644. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My initial answer was go ahead with what you can get right now. You can go over it in the future and try to implement something in the future, but
yeah, I'm initially not super concerned about this.
Cool.
Our pages are quite Drupal-y in that sense, yeah. There's room for other, maybe even simpler pages. So
yeah,
we'll give them this one.
nice idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And about the other stuff for the admin UI, most of the meetings are on Wednesday, so we'll have updates tomorrow, not today, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Anja, do you want to do your final call out?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I'm doing a session about UI texts at Dev Days. So I'm still looking at to see whether we can actually come up with an equivalent of coding standards for UI texts as well. So if anybody has any ideas that of points that would be interesting to raise in that, I would be happy to hear them. And I'm doing a test run actually on this Thursday in Amsterdam at the Tech Talks, in case somebody's in the Netherlands.
Okay.
That's all from me.
Okay, good to know. Good that it got on the program for Dev Days. Nice. Okay, we're an hour in. I want to thank everybody for attending. I hope we helped some people, and then we'll see each other next week or in the ICQ. Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.